Welcome to Cheers and Chow, where we explore how people cook, eat, and gather. This podcast is all about the stories, experiences, and connections that happen around food, whether that's in the kitchen, at the table, or beyond. I'm your host, Coco, and today's guest is someone I had the pleasure of meeting through work. She's a talented UX designer, a fierce competitor on the pickleball court, recently winning first place in a tournament, and a great friend who helps keep me accountable in my fitness journey. When it comes to food, she describes her cooking experience as recipe follower, which I can't wait to dig into. Vicky, welcome to Cheers and Chow. To kick us off, what is it about following recipes that makes it your go-to approach in the kitchen?
I'd call myself a beginner chef. All I can do is follow recipes right now. I know my mom, when I ask her for recipes, she's just like eyeball everything. I cannot do that. Whenever I want to cook anything, I must have a recipe and will follow it to a T, or else I think everything's gonna go down in flames.
Maybe just walk us through your approach to even finding a recipe that you do want to follow.
I think a lot of inspiration comes from scrolling on YouTube or on Instagram, like Reels or Shorts. I'll see some food that looks really yummy, and usually I'm like starving too, so I'm like, I really want to make that. I'll go off and find a recipe that follows that and then try my best to make it. Sometimes it doesn't go the way plans, but experimentation.
I definitely agree with you. Inspiration can come from many different places. Some of the challenges that I have when it comes to following a recipe is just like understanding what they're asking me to do. Do you ever have any challenges when it comes to reading the actual instructions?
I learned a lot in the beginning, struggling a lot with when it's just words. So I find a lot of recipes to follow easier when first I see a video of them going through it on Instagram or on YouTube, and then they put the recipes on their website so I can follow those directions. But then also I'm like, what does this mean? I can go back to the video and be like, ah, I see, and follow it.
When you're in the kitchen, you're making this new thing, you're watching the video, rewatching the clip, and then reading the text.
That's exactly. And my layout is my laptop with the directions and then my phone pulled up around the side with the video just in case. It's kind of chaotic, but it works.
How do you feel when you follow the recipe and now it's time to try it? Like, how does it usually go?
Honestly, I'm like so hungry that I just dig into it and I don't think I appreciate it enough. Sometimes I'll remember to take a picture, but usually it's been pretty good. Sometimes comes out a little burnt, but just scrape it off and the flavor's still there. I would call all them successes and very happy to eat them. Also, I'm like, wow, I made that.
Let's say it's something that you really enjoyed. You're happy that you made it. Do you find yourself making that same thing again? And will you usually follow the recipe again? Or do you think at some point you're able to make it without the recipe?
I've definitely made things multiple times. If it's more of an intricate recipe and I don't remember all the steps, I just pull it up just in case. It's obviously like nice to do it once so you know how it goes, and then the second time usually goes a little smoother. I think for simpler recipes, I just assume how it goes, but I always double check and have the recipe on the side for sure.
Are there ever any moments where you're like, ooh, let me just like experiment a little bit here and see what happens?
Generally sticking to it. However, when it comes to recipes where I have 90% of the ingredients, like one thing I don't have, like it calls for vinegar. I don't have vinegar. I just have balsamic vinegar. And I don't want to go out and buy a whole bottle of that. We just substitute it and hope that it works out. Usually it does. Maybe it doesn't taste exactly how it's supposed to, but it tastes good enough to eat.
Working within your constraints a bit, right? I might not
Mhm.
have the specific thing, but I have something similar. So we'll just see how it goes. I know one of the things that we've talked about is very specific types of recipes. They require very specific ingredients. You gather all of the ingredients, but then you have this full jar of like vinegar. Have you
Right.
ever had moments like that? And what do you try to do so that way you can make use of some of this extra stuff?
I remember buying Korean soybean paste and I bought it because I saw a video. The guy was like, this is a good thing to buy. You can make a lot of things with it. And I was like, okay. And then I went out to buy it and I was like, actually, I don't know what to make with it. So I had to search recipes with that name in it to just find ways to use it. So far,
Yeah.
I've only done one thing. So there's a large amount remaining in there. That's typically the strategy, just finding recipes that has to contain the ingredient or else it's definitely
Yeah.
gonna go to waste.
That's a good strategy. I feel like it's something that I'm trying to flex a little bit more. Recently, it's not soybean paste, but it's miso. Thankfully, this thing has like a good shelf life. I've maybe only used it 3 times and I still have a lot left. And it's like, this thing is never ending.
Yeah.
But then finding recipes that specifically use it, it's not always on the forefront of my mind.
I would say I'm the exact same way. And it's those kind of things, like similar with the soybean paste, that you only use a little in whatever recipes I find. And so there's
Yeah.
always so much left. What do people do with this?
I know personally that your mom is a big cook. Mom, if you're listening, shout out to you because I hear you make some really bomb food. But how has that influenced the way you approach food and cooking?
Mom, if you're listening to this, maybe not entirely positive, but I would just remember because she would cook for my dad and I and my brother. And I just remember one day, I'm like, wow, I should probably learn how to cook before I have to live by myself. And I was like, Mom, let me help you cook. She was like, okay. We were in the kitchen together and she would tell me what to do, like cut a vegetable or something. And then she didn't really tell me how to, so I just try it out. And she'd look at me like, rude boy, let me do it. And I was like, this isn't how I'm supposed to learn. What the heck? And so I feel like every time I'm like, Mom, let me help you, or let me try to learn how to cook, or teach me how to cook. And she will give me a task, but end up taking over it because I do not do it well enough. So that kind of ends up with her making the meals in the end, but it's still yummy. So I had to learn how to cook a lot on my own.
You're actually cooking on your own like a lot more. When you do go back home, because I know that's something that you often do you two still have those moments where it's like, I'm going to try to help her out, or do you just let her have the kitchen?
I am not gonna lie, whenever I go back home, I've become such a lazy couch potato and I just let my mom cook everything. She doesn't ask for any help, which maybe I should try to help around more. She's like, so nice. She's like, oh, you're home. Let me cook you a meal. And I'm like, oh, you said so. I'm just gonna go relax then. I would assume maybe next time I go home, I'll try and help her out and see what happens if anything has changed.
Have you ever made something yourself that you've cooked that you really like and then gone back home and made it for your parents?
Ooh, not yet, but I probably should. But there's one time I made like red Thai curry with chicken. I made a lot and it was really spicy. So I was like, hey, mom, dad, I know you're better in spice than me, so I'm gonna bring this back for you guys to just eat. That's probably the most. Like, if I make something here, I know they don't have all the ingredients that I have here back at home, so it's probably a little more of a hassle to go back home and buy everything. So I'll make something here and then try to bring it back to them. They
Nice.
liked it. It was also spicy to them.
What is something that is a home cooked meal that you wish you could make yourself?
My mom would always make this soy sauce pork belly cuts. She'll cut them up, add potatoes to it. It's very soy sauce heavy, but it's so good. But I just do not have the ingredients for that. I asked my mom what it is, and she was saying Chinese, and I'm like, how do you spell that? So I can never find the recipe, and I'll ask her how to make it, and she eyeballs everything.
Those are some of the challenges when someone cooks with intuition. It's like you want to learn from that, but it's really hard for that person to teach it. Like you said, she's telling you what the ingredients are in Chinese, and you're just like, what is that?
Translate it literally. I actually did find it. It was actually easy to find, but it's braised pork belly, or
Oh.
what was the Chinese name for it? One day when I get everything, I will make it.
Shifting a little bit into just like your food habits, your preferences, are there any certain types of cuisines or dishes that you naturally gravitate towards?
I will have to say probably in the Asian realm, and then maybe more specifically Korean food. I think it's a little healthier. I actually don't know, but I feel like Chinese takeout is usually very greasy depending on what you get. For Korean food, they have good flavors and they add a lot of vegetables wherever they can. So yeah, I'll probably opt for that.
What are some of your go-to Korean dishes?
I literally just got Korean food the other
Yeah.
day. They'll have a spicy pork dish over rice. Spicy, but really good. They have a lot of like side dishes that are really simple and I would hope it's healthy. Like fish cakes, really yummy. Can I ask what cuisine you typically lean towards when you're cooking?
That's actually really hard.
Every time I see your story, it's from one thing to another, like you be all across the
Yeah.
world.
My focus has been on experimenting with new flavor profiles, less on American traditional cuisine. Like I grew up just eating that. And when I look at everything, it's like very simple. The flavor profile, I feel like it's basic now.
Mm.
And so, yeah, you mentioned like it is a little bit diverse. One day it's an Italian, like tonight I'm making like a salmon pasta. Yesterday I made chicken and shrimp. You could say it's an Asian cuisine because I use like soy sauce and ginger and
Yeah.
garlic, things like that. I really just like to experiment. Probably the ones that I rely on the most are going to be Asian cuisines. I just
Mhm.
the fact the flavor can be achieved without having to do a lot with it. I
Yeah.
find that it's simple ingredients that can be used for other different kinds of protein. It's very versatile. Something else that I also really am enjoying lately is like more of a Mediterranean kind of profile.
That is so impressive one to be able to be influenced by so many. I feel like I right now, because I like lean towards more Asian inspired recipes, stuck in that little corner and don't really have an incentive, I guess, to look outside of that. I made pasta one time and I was like, it's okay. And then I made pasta again and I made it Asian inspired. So I was like, I'm just stuck here.
That actually brings up a question of just like what would motivate you to make something? Like why did you choose to make an Italian inspired dish that one time?
It was a YouTube short that someone made that used pasta and she emphasized it was like very healthy. And I was like, well, I need to fix my diet a little bit. So just wanted to try it out. I never really made pasta like that or used basil to make pasta or anything, but it was good. I liked it. It was really different from what I am usually used to flavor wise, but glad I tried it.
Do you think that your approach to following recipes impacts the way that you experience food when you're eating out or trying new dishes?
I feel like if I go to a restaurant, I'm more open to going to a cuisine outside of Asian cuisine, and there I'll just get whatever sounds good, even if I've never had it before. Definitely more adventurous on that side, but in terms of recipe following, I'll definitely lean one way more than the other in terms of type of cuisine. So I guess they don't really affect each other, which is an interesting point.
Have you ever gone out somewhere and you've tried something for the first time and maybe it's inspired you to look up a recipe for it so you can try it out at home? Has that ever happened?
Surprisingly, no. I'm surprised that hasn't happened. Usually I can tell you every single recipe I've ever tried came from like a video I saw. If not,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like one or two. I would say 90% would probably come from something I found online. I feel like when I'm at a restaurant, I never think about making it at home. Whenever I go out with my parents, they would always say things like, this place probably uses so much oil or uses so much this and that. And I'm like, even if I wanted to, I don't think I could replicate it because I don't know what goes behind the scenes, but
Sure.
it probably wouldn't taste the same. So I guess I don't even think about trying it.
I would say for me, it depends on where I'm going. I
Mm.
feel like the only time where I've really tapped into that has been this one restaurant called Kobe's over here. And they make this really good fried rice. Never have I ever tasted any kind of fried rice
Oh,
like this. Like
wow.
the best ever. The fried rice one was definitely one that I find myself replicating here in the kitchen.
Mhm.
I don't know the exact ingredients. I usually just take in the flavor and I'm like, okay, let me see how I can
Wow.
infuse it at home.
That's like a skill to be unlocked. Can you
Mhm.
imagine, like, when you first started, would you be able to do that? Like, assess the profile and then attempt it back at home?
I feel like I wasn't able to have the confidence to do that until I started experimenting with different flavor profiles.
Mm.
So, for example, this particular restaurant, it's like a Southeast Asian kind of cuisine. So, it already taps into the Asian flavor profile a little bit. Because I know what that tastes like and I've tasted in other places, I feel safe to experiment
Mm.
there. I've never made an Indian dish before, and then I go taste it somewhere for the first time and I try to recreate it. I don't think I would have the confidence to do it because
Like a gap.
what yeah, there's just like a
Hmm.
gap. This one place had this really good pasta. It was an Italian place. It was just like a pasta with shrimp and tomato, and it was the sauce best seafood-based pastas I've ever had, and I tried recreating it, and it just never came close. Decent enough to eat, but it never came close. There's gotta be some secret ingredient or something that they're doing that I don't even know about because I can't come close at home. You describe yourself as a recipe follower. I'm actually curious. When you think of your week, like how many days out of the week are you spending time on cooking yourself versus spending time like eating out and just what does that look like?
I try not to eat out just in general. This week, I've been a little lenient. A normal week, I would say like Saturday, Sunday, the weekends, I'll spend time to find a recipe and then usually like I already have the ingredients for it, so I don't have to go out and buy anything else. And then I'll take the time to make it. I wouldn't call it meal prepping. I'm just making a big enough batch that I hope lasts the whole week and see where it goes. And so I'll do that. Whenever it runs out, then I'll just repeat the cycle. This week, for example, sometimes I just crave stuff that I'm like, I don't have the things to make it. I just want to
Gotta
eat it
tap
right
into
now.
that craving though.
Yeah, I've been doing a little too much this week, but happy belly,
Yeah.
full belly, like you said.
If I were in your shoes, where cooking is a learning process for me and I have to follow these recipes, I would find myself actually eating out so much more than cooking in. I'm really impressed that it's actually the opposite for you and you're being intentional in that way, making sure that whatever you make is going to last you for a certain amount of time just so you don't have to eat out to that degree.
Right. Oh, thank you. I guess when you're saying it, I don't know what made the spark of this thought, but I just remember my mom would cook something different every single day for dinner. And I remember telling her, if I, for myself, had to cook something different every single day, I would hate cooking and would not want to. At that point, I would probably just eat out. The idea of just having leftovers that you could just take out and put in the microwave and then eat and not have to worry about like making something, I think that just makes the process so much easier where I don't have to necessarily feel like I need to go eat out.
It's funny that you bring that up because when I'm thinking about how I cook, I'm almost always making something new each night. it's usually something new because whatever that is left is gone by lunch. I think where that gets me in a little bit of trouble is I'm not a planner, right? I see something and I'm like, oh, this would be good right now. And that's how I go about cooking. Like today, I opened up the freezer and I was just staring at all the meat in there. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what I want to cook today. Like, me wants to have steak right now. Salmon also sounds good too. When you say it like that, like cooking something new each day is definitely a lot. And the hard part too is if you take that approach and let's say you're following these recipes that require very specific ingredients, like that I feel is not a sustainable way because then you're having to either get new ingredients every single day you make something.
Right. Right. Yeah. Back to my mom. They'll do their grocery shopping, but she's at this point where she looks into her fridge and she uses those ingredients to make something, not think of a recipe and then grab the ingredients to make them. But then,
Yeah.
like right now, recipe follower, like I don't have the brain set, they haven't grown in yet. So I have to think of a recipe, get the ingredients to it. But then I don't want to like go out to buy new things every time for a new recipe, like you said. So I have to just try to think of ways or find recipes that incorporate the same thing, but in a different way, just to repurpose them. It's a lot of work, a lot of brain power, now that I think about it.
So I do have a little bit of a tip that I think might be able to help with that. By no way am I diligent with it myself. Like it's something that I'm aware of, but I'm like, oh, I could see how really tapping into this could make me more efficient. There's this book I have, it's called Salt, Fat, Acid, and Heat. The essence of the book is to teach you the most basic and fundamental things that you need to know when it comes to cooking in the kitchen. What's nice about it is that they have this checklist of pantry staples. And so the way she frames it in the book is if you have these things on hand in your kitchen or pantry all the time, you should be able to make whatever it is that you need to make on the most basic but satisfying level. Now, anything like that's super specific that requires something special, you're not having to go out and source all the basic things that that meal probably has. You're just getting one or two of those items that are specific to it. So I feel like that can help. One thing I'm trying to figure out though is very general. So it has things from olive oil to canned tomatoes if you want to make like pasta sauce. But I would be curious, what are those elements that I need for certain kinds of cuisines that I like? Like for Asian cuisine, what do I need to always have on hand
Yeah,
versus in the moment when I need to make it?
that sounds so helpful. I actually have a question. The basics in terms of spices, does that book say anything about it? Because I never knew. Like, I would look at other friends' pantries, like spice wise, and like, they all have a lot. Should I? 'Cause I look at my salt, pepper, bro. I'm like, there's gotta be more.
Okay, the one spice actually she touches on, which is mind blowing, is salt. I mean, yes, you have these other things, and sometimes it comes from like the fresh herbs that you can go out and get, like cilantro or like green onion to help enhance the flavor, or garlic or ginger. But she really puts a big emphasis on using salt as a way to
Oh,
like really promote flavor. And one of the tricks that I actually learned that has changed my cooking game like entirely. Let's say you have chicken, for example. You want to treat it like a marinade, right? Salt it the day
mhm.
before so that way the salt can soak into the protein. Or if you have
Right.
like beef, maybe you have like 2 pounds of beef, you want to salt it like 2 days before you actually cook it so it can just really get in there. And I'm telling you, it's a game changer.
Whoa, okay. Good to know.
On a basic level, salt and pepper can really take you far. There's this technique called blanching. I rarely used to eat green beans. Me and vegetables, we're figuring it out, but she tells you to put on a pot of boiling water, make sure the water is like super salty, like the ocean.
Whoa.
And then she's like, throw in your green beans for like 5 minutes. And then once it's done, the green beans are like really good. And it's like
Whoa.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try that next time. I got Brussels sprouts, so I'm gonna try to We'll see how we go.
So, if you're wanting to learn more about spices,
Mhm.
diversify your flavor profiles, I have a spice book called The Science of Spice. It has all the different spices from basically all around the world, and it educates you through just here's what it is. Here's also like how you compare it with other things. This goes well with this kind of protein. But probably my main ones that I use salt, pepper, turmeric, curry powder,
Okay.
harissa, things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta upgrade my spice game. But salt can
But
take a
salt.
long way.
So, Vicky, I want to know how you gather around food with other people. What are some of your favorite memories around food?
With Asian culture, for sure, the idea of sharing everything. If you've been to a Chinese restaurant, big open round tables, everyone like sits next to each other and they're not like squared off. You order a lot of food for the table, but you don't have your own portion, right? Everyone just takes their own portion from the foods that are on the table. So very different from American restaurants where everyone just orders their own dishes and they just eat it themselves. It's nice to share food in that way. And I think with other friends, I'll like encourage, hey, like you order this because I want to try that, and I'll order this because you want to try this one, and then we could just save some money and also just share these dishes. That is what I'm used to. I went to visit China when I was a kid. Our family would go out. That's just how they ate. That's how all the restaurants were. And especially if it was like a big group, we're just like around a big table with one of those spin glass things in the middle. And so many just random dishes being placed on there. And you can just pick and choose, try different things, get more of one if you like it, don't touch one if you don't like it. And it's just like very loud because everyone's just talking with each other and eating good food. It was such a good memory. Just that feeling of people being in the same space and sharing food and enjoying the time with each other. It's nice.
With other cultures too, it's very common for people to gather like that. It's large portions of different things, and people can make their own plate or pick whatever they want to have. When I first moved to California, I was staying in this Airbnb and it was with a Chinese family. And somehow, I don't know, I had a really good connection with them. They made hot pot for the Airbnb guests. Like, they invited their own friends. And so we were just like downstairs, just feasting together. And I was like, oh, this is really sweet. We even went out to dinner with them once. And I want to say it was like Sichuan focused. And they had the round table. And I remember it moving. And I was like, oh, this is like really cool. From an American culture perspective, we really only take part in something like that when it's Thanksgiving, where it's meant to be a
Mhm.
variety of dishes where we're sharing together.
Just like when my mom would make meals and everything, it was normal to see 4 or 5 different things on the table. Like they're not super complex, but it's just like maybe a protein and then two vegetables and maybe a soup or something and just lay it all on the table and then everyone would get their bowl of rice and then we would just pick from the plates and that's how we build our own meals and can go back into it and eat and whatever. So like making food now, I'm used to having different plates in front of me and I'll just like pick and choose and just build my own plate. So I don't know, is that something that was common for you like growing up?
That's actually really cool to hear. And thanks for sharing that perspective. Growing up, it was definitely like traditional in the sense of, hey, we're having spaghetti tonight. And then mom makes spaghetti, and then there you go. I'm trying to think about growing up where like being able to see something like that, I bet is like also really nice because, like, whoa, there's so much food. After hearing you share that, I don't know, I kind of got a little bit of inspired. I feel like it creates more variety. Also, maybe it could be more sustainable. I won't have to make a new meal each night because I made this particular protein with these vegetables and these different things. Like, it can last a little bit longer. I would say my biggest worry, I don't want to waste a whole lot of food. Let's say I made something, I ate it that same day, and maybe I ate it the next day. and there's some of it left, but I'm not interested in eating it, I'm okay with letting it go. But if it's
Mm,
larger portions and there's still like a lot left, I don't usually freeze things to have later. Like usually it's like I make it now to eat it now.
that is definitely a good concern. I feel like how you make dinner, it's enough for dinner and then into lunch, right?
Yeah.
That's usually how the portions go. If my mom were to make dinner, she'd make enough of these vegetable dishes on the main protein and like extra side dishes. Also enough for dinner and then for leftovers and lunch.
When it's just like us, maybe a partner, friend, or whatever, I feel like it's so different than when you're cooking and feeding for like a family, right? Let's just say pasta, for example. I don't know why like pasta is my focus for today's conversation, but I remember my mom would make just spaghetti and she could use a whole pack of like ground beef and fine, everything's good. When I would get here and I use a whole pack of ground beef, I'm like, no, like this is way too much.
I
I
know.
need to use half of it. Like, why am I making a whole
Yeah.
pack? So it is interesting to see like how you have to make these adjustments when you are like feeding for yourself or for two people.
When I think back and I'll try to make something that maybe I saw my mom make one time and I'm like referencing spaghetti too. When she'll make spaghetti or something and I'm like, how much did she? She's the one. And then I'm like, oh, I made the mistake of putting way too much. I'm not three people, so
Yeah.
I cannot eat that much. It's a science.
Even following recipes, it's just sometimes I forget that the person who is making this is making it for 4 to 6 servings of it. And so
Right.
even when I come across something, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna cut everything in half, especially if I don't know if I'm gonna like it.
I had to learn to be careful of too. I always forget to look at the serving size.
This is a fun question, but you were to host a dinner party, what kind of meal would you put together? And would you stick to recipes for it, or would you try to experiment a little bit and try something new?
I definitely would only make something that I've made before and that I know tastes good. I think I'm still self-conscious about letting people try what I make. Because I'm like, what if they don't like it? And then my self-esteem is gonna be crushed. But that's okay. It hasn't gotten there yet. But I think I would take the easy way out with what your first B family did, and I would go for a hot pot.
Nice.
Or like KBBQ or something. I don't really have to cook. I just have to get all the ingredients and people can
Mm,
cook it
I
themselves.
see your approach. Put it on the other
Like
people.
that's my approach until I have something that I'm like confident in making. That would probably be my best guess on what I'd do.
Hey,
But I'm curious to know what you would do for
definitely things I've made before that I know for sure these are gonna land. For example, I had a friend who hosted a Christmas party and I wanted to really make something. I also want to make sure whatever it is I make, like you're gonna like it. I actually made this duck fried rice. I'm sticking to more of things that I've made over and over again where I just know that people are gonna like this. But then occasionally I try to make something to see how it's gonna land. Are you ready for a game?
Oh my gosh, I'm so ready.
This is a segment I like to call Off the Menu. It's just a quick round of fun, unexpected food related questions. No
Alright.
overthinking, just say and go with whatever comes top of mind.
Sounds good.
So, sweet or savory?
Savory.
Ooh, okay, okay. The best meal you've ever had and where?
Oh, whoa. Oh my gosh. Peking duck somewhere in China. I need to go back.
Would you rather over season or never season at all?
I'll say over season. Whoa. Never seen it. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna go with over season. I got my water. I'll wash it down.
What's in your fridge right now that you should probably throw away?
Probably some sort of vegetable that I did not use correctly or enough for it. Yeah, it's definitely rotting in there.
Go to meal after a long day.
If I'm by myself, probably a packet of ramen in there, putting some spam in there, chop some veggies, throw it in there. Yeah.
Let's say if you're at your parents' house and your mom's cooking.
I don't know the name of the best soup that she would make. I don't even know what is in there. Some vegetable and then some protein. The flavors, I have no idea. But she would make it, especially on a cold day, mom soup. I'll just call it.
We definitely want the recipe. If she can even tell us what's in it.
Yeah, literally.
A food that you refuse to eat.
Mushrooms, the taste, I just never got into it. My parents will not give up trying to make me eat it, even now. And I'm like, I think I know now. I don't like it.
I don't mind it. It's sliced and they're still tiny. At these hibachi places, they will serve you like that soup and it's like,
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 just slices of mushrooms. Like that's the only time I'll have it because I think it's just like it's soup and it's just like going down in one gulp. Like I'm not chewing it, but
Yeah, when things are, it's like the taste is masked by
yes,
something. Like I don't even taste that. That's fine. But by itself, I'm good.
we're
Can't do
lying.
it.
What is one food you'd eat for the rest of your life?
Whoa, food. My go-to would always be like potatoes because you can make it so many different ways. You can do so many things with them.
Good pick. So I'm definitely gonna make me some fries. Okay, so if your cooking style was a song, what would it be?
Whoa, a song. Whoa, bro, this sounds so dumb, but like ABCs, man, it's the same. I don't know, recipe, but I'm following the same type of format. As you could say that with every song, but classic.
Reading the question, I was like, I am wondering if she's gonna say like a song where kind of like songs that tell you what to do because you're a true recipe follower.
Answers change to one of those.
What is a weird food combo you secretly love? And let me just define weird. Weird can
Uh-huh.
mean another person be like, why are you doing that? Or they just be like, I don't get it. Or weird could also just mean maybe you discovered these two things that you didn't think would just go together, but you really
Hmm,
like it together.
I see. Hey, don't know about the second one, but the first one, that was controversial, but I love pineapples on pizza, bro. Like that
Oh,
sweet and salty combination. I'm dying on a hill for that one. Hey, I'm gonna out myself here, but if you were to tell me to go order pizza, that would be my first. Oh, yep, I said it. Love the combination. I don't know.
I feel like this is something I'm learning about you for the very first time. I don't know if we've crossed this bridge yet. So we have
I don't
to just
think so.
unlock the new layer of our friendship. Tell me where did this come from? Why do you love it? Share with us.
I can't pinpoint the exact first time I had it, but Papa John's, my dad decided to order one day, and somehow I got pineapples on pizza in front of me, and I tried it, and I was like, why is this so good? The sweet and salt. The more I think about it, I'm like, when I want snacks or something yummy to eat, I just want sweet and salty. Like I bought chocolate covered pretzels the other day because I was just craving that combination. But I'm offending all the Italians out there. But the sweetness with the salty, it works. It works. I don't know.
I'll be very honest with you. I have actually never tried pineapple on pizza. So my perspective definitely
Whoa.
comes from not trying it, but the two just sound like polar opposites.
You're not wrong. When I went to St. Louis
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago, I had a pizza that had fig and prosciutto and
Mm.
it worked. I don't know that sweet and salty combo, but I was very cautious about it. But it tasted good. So I guess I don't know, that combo is a thing for sure. People are expanding on it.
Yeah.
But if you say grape or blueberries to me, that sounds a little I don't know. I don't know about that one. Every time like our family orders pizza, I'm always hey, at least half, man, pineapples.
Just hold me to it. But like when we eat together, so yeah, we haven't eaten together. We've discovered that on this.
Yes.
We'll have pizza, and
Oh my gosh.
for you, I will try this combination.
Let's make you a pineapple pizza convert.
Have to do a part 2 so we can, like, report back to everyone.
I'll let you know, guys, when she likes it.
Last question, Vicky. You have 5 minutes to just throw something together that you're going to eat.
Whoa! Okay. All my, like, chicken and meat are all frozen, so I guess not enough time to deep. My, like, really go-to meal when I'm not feeling like cooking and I literally would have 5 minutes would be those cans of tuna. If you buy, like, from Costco or something. Canned tuna, pop in a bowl. Mayo, squeeze it out. Corn, open a can of corn. I used to not have a can opener, so I would Coco saw this live. I would try to cut it with a knife, and she was very concerned, which makes sense. But I did it twice. But I finally got a can opener. There's a can opener to open up a can of corn, and then dump a bit in. I want to say tuna, corn, mayo, and then like a chili oil, and then you can get some rice on the side, and eat it together. That's like, I don't know, not a struggle meal, but that's like the simplest. Like, if I have the lowest low of energy, I'm making that. Yeah, that's my meal.
Sounds good, actually. I actually want to try it.
You should. It's actually so good.
I must say, it has been a pleasure just hearing about your story. I love that you shared with us about how you're a recipe follower. If you enjoyed this conversation, check out Vicky's recipe for cabbage pancakes on Substack. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Until next time, happy cooking and cheers.